Let's bring him on. He's on vacation from the Bernie and Sid show.
How did you track him down?
Well, he goes to upstate New York. He's out in the country with the family.
What are you, in Rome, New York right now, Sid?
I'm actually south of Rome, New York. I'm closer to Monticello, New York, guys, in White Lake, which is about 2 hours north of my place in Manhattan. My parents actually split the time between Aventura, Florida, and up here. We've had this summer home up here, guys, for about 35 years, and my parents decided to sell the house in Brooklyn. It's been half the year up here. It's gorgeous up here. So up in the mountains by Monticello in New York.
So earlier, I think it was like last week, Harry was Jew-shaming me for not knowing that area up there.
Where the Borscht Belt.
Right.
Yeah, the Catskills.
I didn't know that. Now you know me. I'm from the same area as you. I didn't know that we migrated up there, up north 2 hours from the city. I thought everybody went, like, to the Cape or, like, to Point Pleasant.
No. Come on. The Jersey Shore is for the Goyim. The Hamptons are kind of mixed. The Poconos are for the Goyim. The Jews come up here. They call this the Jewish Alps for 100 years. Look, guys, there was one point where there were hotels up here. The Stevensville, the Grossingers, the Concord. Kutchers, all Jews. I mean, your Jerry Lewis at the Browns Hotel was a big deal. So the Nevele and the Homowack, it's been Jewish up here forever. In fact, every couple of feet when you leave my parents' estate, every couple of feet is literally another bungalow colony run by the Hasidic, which is the most Orthodox Jew you'll ever find. So if you're Jewish and you don't know about this place, that would almost be as bad as being African American and never hearing of Harlem.
Wow, I'm not even I'm not even full Jew, Sid, and I spent a week at the Concord back in the 70s.
See that? There you go. So
yeah.
Mayes is closer to a Jew than Shander. That's what's called a Shander.
Well, hold on a second. I'm first gen on my dad's side, all right? We all immigrated from Israel, all right? So we touched base in Jamaica, Queens, and nobody ever moved. Everybody was content there.
I don't know about that. You know who's actually from Jamaica Estates in Jamaica, Queens?
I'm sorry?
Do you know who's from Jamaica Estates in Jamaica, Queens, who, by the way, has left? You may have heard of him. His name is Donald Trump. He left.
Oh, that's right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now, he moved out. My grandpa.
Moved out. He's gone.
Wexler Terrace, last stop on the F train, all right?
Oh, my God.
Oh, very nice. Yes. Very nice. Look at this.
All right, Jew.
Walk down Jewish memory lane for the Philadelphia folks.
All right, Sid. Now, we wanted to have you on for a couple reasons. The secondary reason was the Phillies and the Mets are getting started in a series this weekend that neither fan base really cares about probably anymore. All the Philadelphia fans are counting down the days till training camp because the Phillies look like they stink, and the Mets have been bad the entire season. But the other reason I wanted to get you on was you made a move last week when Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving made the move to Brooklyn that I thought was totally fraudulent.
Yes.
And we had to call you out on it because you're a Knicks fan. But now you're claiming that you're a Brooklyn fan because your New York takes precedence over, Manhattan and Brooklyn. It's all about New York. So now you're a fraudulent Nets fan.
Well, that's not true. I'm going to explain to you why that's not the case, gentlemen, because you're from Philadelphia. I got to explain to you New York. When you live in New York, right, if you like the Rangers, you have to hate the Islanders. Mm-hmm. When you live in New York, if you like the Mets, you've got to despise the Yankees. When you live in New York, if you love the Giants, you've got to hate the Jets. The one sport where that does not exist ever, going back to the days of Julius Erving when he played in New York on Long Island for the ABA, is basketball. There are plenty of Knicks fans who are also Net fans. Let me remind you guys, when I was hosting middays at WFAN, I lived in Tenafly, New Jersey. Uh-huh. And right down the road was the Nets home court. Those were the years when they had Jason Kidd and went to 2 consecutive NBA finals, albeit both losses, to Tim Duncan in San Antonio and Kobe and Shaq in Los Angeles. But the New Jersey Nets, not that long ago, made the finals 2 years in a row. I lived in New Jersey. So you can be the only sport where it's okay to be a big-time Knicks fan and somewhat of a Net fan, or vice versa, is basketball. That works in New York City.
I'm not buying this.
Well, here's the beauty of Sid Rosenberg. I don't know many people on the planet that can sell you the complete opposite of a reality.
Well, right.
Like, to the point at which now I'm believing it.
Yeah.
I just told you where I'm from,
shoot.
all right? I just told you up there, and now I'm believing it. Sid, you are a master at it.
No way.
Listen. I live on the Upper West Side right now. I've lived in Chelsea. I lived in Battery Park. I lived right by the World Trade Center on that tragic day in 2001. But I spent 32 years of my nearly 53 years on this planet living in Brooklyn. That doesn't go away, guys. So I can live in New York. I can live in Boca. I can work in Madison Square Garden. You cannot remove 33 years of Brooklyn from me. Take the boy out of Brooklyn, but you can't take Brooklyn out of the boy. So today I'm a Knicks fan and a Net fan, and because the Nets are better, Brooklyn is ahead of me.
Now, how does that sit? All right, now, how does that sit with your followers who know you for being so wide? I mean, you can cover
Sid
everything.
Rosenberg on Twitter and Instagram.
Thank you. All right, this is not a political thing. This is not a social thing. This is a sport thing. This is where you made your bones in this business. So what are the people up there that are lifelong New York Knicks fans that have to suffer through go, New York, go again? What are they saying to you?
Well, you know what's funny about that question is, guys, when I was growing up in the 70s, nobody who lived in New York was a Jet or a Giant fan. Nobody. And you guys know why.
Yeah.
Those were the days of Joe Pisarcik with the Giants.
Right.
And those were the days of, I don't know, it was like Matt Robinson with the Jets. It was after Richard Todd. So they were both really bad. So all the guys that I grew up with in Brooklyn became Dallas Cowboy fans because of Staubach, Dolphin fans because of Marino, Viking fans because of Tarkenton, Steeler fans because of Bradshaw. Nobody liked the Jets and the Giants. I got to tell you, there's about a new generation of kids living in New York that outside of one 54-win season about 4 years ago when Carmelo led the Knicks to a first-round win over Boston before losing Indiana in the second round, they don't know the Knicks as anything but terrible.
Yeah.
So they kind of like the Knicks because it's Madison Square Garden. There's history. There's Patrick Ewing. There's Bernard King. There's Walt Frazier and Willis Reed. But all they know is for the better part of 2 decades, everybody hates James Dolan and the Knicks stink. So there's not this rabid young Knicks fan base anymore. So the Brooklyn Nets, they steal all those guys. So I don't take a beating in New York because any other sport and any other team, there's a whole generation, 2 decades of fans who only know the Knicks as bad. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, I tell you, the Nets have a pretty nice team, and then when you put Kyrie on it, KD in a year, 2 years from now, they could be pretty darn good. But anyway, I love the troll.
No, let me tell you this, and not to blow smoke up your ass up in Philadelphia, but down in Philadelphia, which is a terrible place, and for the most part, outside of you two, a bunch of horrible people. But I'm going to give you credit when credit is due. You got the best team on paper. I don't care if Kawhi goes back to Toronto. If he goes back, he's still better. Let's not forget the Sixers and Raptors went down to, a Game 7 this year.
Yeah.
I love – no one ever talks – the guy that Philly signed, he's not a good player. He's not a very good player. He's a great player, and that's Al Horford.
Al Horford.
He was great in high school. He was great at Florida, where he won 2 championships, and he's been a magnificent pro. Forgetting about bringing back Tobias Harris, that's fantastic. Mm-hmm. That's all good. You get Josh Butler. Josh is a very exciting offensive player. But to get Al Horford on that team, I am sorry. I don't care what happens in Toronto and Kyrie Irving in Brooklyn. On paper, the 76ers are the best team in the East. Now let's see if they can make it on paper, make it a reality on the basketball court.
A lot of Sixers fans were pulling a page right out of your book, Sid, saying, I've loved Al Horford forever. Right. What are you talking about? I never ripped Al Horford.
I've always respected
those
his game.
tweets were deleted.
Well, he was in Boston, but if you know anything about basketball and you watch this guy play for 15 years, this guy is so good. He's so good. Yep.
Yeah, he's a pro's pro, no doubt. I think he's going to have a great effect on Embiid in a lot of ways on and off the court. But I was getting to – I love the troll job that I think it was the New York Post did the day after KD and Kyrie made it known that they're coming to Brooklyn. They put a picture of the Barclays Center, and it said the Mecca on it. The total rip at the Madison Square Garden. It was awesome.
Oh, that's funny. Listen, at the end of the day, the question is, Harry and Eytan, why did those guys pick Brooklyn? We've known for over a month that Kyrie Irving was going to the Nets. He was never coming to the Knickerbockers. Maybe Kevin Durant was going to, at the very end, change his mind. And we know right after Kevin Durant got hurt, by the way, his doctor, who's orthopedist, right after the Achilles injury, is the Nets doctor, Mr. O'Malley. That's been his doctor since that game against Toronto. But everybody keeps asking me, why do you think it is? And they keep asking, is it Jim Dolan? And I got to tell you, I cannot think of any other reason. Yep. I don't think Jim Dolan is as bad as owner as people think. The guy spends a ton of money, always brings in the big names. In fact, one of his issues is he spends too much money on guys that are not very, very good ball players. But in the end, I think he tries to win. He just doesn't know how to win. But I do believe that guys like Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, they stayed away from the Knicks because of Jim Dolan.
Yeah, I agree with you. Would you equate him to Dan Snyder, sort of like the Dan Snyder of basketball?
That is a perfect analogy. Dan Snyder goes out all the time, right, guys? He gives aged veterans way too much money, right? Whether it's, Smith or Deion Sanders, he's always spending a ton. If it's the biggest name coach out there, he goes and gets them. But as we know in sports, that doesn't win. But that is a perfect analogy. Jim Dolan is to basketball what Dan Snyder is to Washington, and neither guy ever wins. That's a perfect
I know
analogy.
that it rarely gets to this point, Sid, but I wonder if it is at this point, especially when you look over the bridge and you see what Brooklyn is building. We've had down times whenever we root for a team, right? Eagles have been forever miserable without winning that Super Bowl. I don't know what the reason or rational decision-making thing in your brain, anybody's brain, would be left to say, I'm going to spend money on the New York Knicks moving forward. Like, why would anybody in that city, especially with the alternative, but even Knicks fans, continue to spend money on that team?
Well, I think they want to win. I think at the end of the day, it's not about the money. Jim Dolan has the money.
But
guys.
fans, I mean, like a fan. Like, why is a fan going to a game anymore?
It's funny you say that. I went to see Dwayne Wade play his last game at Madison Square Garden. Guys, it was about 2 weeks before the end of the season. Knicks had about 60 losses already. My buddy Corey Zell, the Capitals, have second-row seats, sits right behind, John McEnroe and Steve Sharippa and Howard Stern and Chris Rock and all those guys. So it certainly makes it an even more enjoyable experience. But I got to tell you, going into Madison Square Garden, going to the basketball game, looking up at the rafters, knowing the history of that place, seeing the Mark Messier flag, seeing the Muhammad Ali stuff outside the Garden, the Billy Joel posters everywhere. I'm sorry, guys, but if you don't always go to a Knicks game to see great basketball. Sometimes you do for the opposing club. But a night out in New York City at Madison Square Garden, followed by a nice dinner in Midtown Manhattan, is an amazing experience.
Wow.
And you just keep hoping one day they'll get good. But I got to tell you, there's not a client in the world. You own a business in New York City, and you want to fly in your friends from Japan or China or Russia. It doesn't matter. They want to go to Madison Square Garden, 65 losses or not necessarily the Barclays Center on Flatbush Avenue.
Well, I don't know that now, though.
Well, it's
Well,
hold on.
You guys, you guys are coming.
Billy Joel's not walking through that door, Sid.
It doesn't matter. You guys are coming in from the sports angle. You don't know that now because the
No. Listen,
product.
I get the history of it, but my point of it, though, is, and this is why I asked the question now, not like normally a year or two ago when the Knicks are just miserable. But now when you add the factor of Brooklyn, do you not think that in a year when Kevin Durant comes back, that will be the new corporate destination?
No, I don't. I think that they'll do very, very well. I think they'll sell out, but I don't think you'll see Knicks games now. People empty seats at Knicks games. Look, guys. Let's remember one other thing, okay? And Miami is right about this. I go down to Miami and I badmouth all the Heat fans like I do with you guys in Philadelphia.
Sure.
And I go, let me tell you something. It doesn't matter if the Knicks lose 70 games. They're going to sell out 18,000 seats every single night. And their response would be, big deal. There's 4 million people in New York. I mean, the idea that if you can sell out the Garden every single night and Barclays Center every single night, that's about 32,000 people in a city with millions and millions of people. So regardless of how good the Nets are, and they will be very, very good, you would think, and they will sell out the Barclays every single night, that's not going to affect what happens at Madison Square Garden. And look, there was a percentage of Knicks fans, guys, I got to tell you, I think the Knicks did a great job. Kyrie Irving is a guy with a bad attitude. Kevin Durant is going to be 32 years old and out of basketball for 16 months. They would rather see R.J. come along, Evan Knox come along. You got Julius Randle, and now the Knicks have a ton of money again in 2 years when, once again, there's another great free agent market. So not everybody in New York is upset that Durant and Irving went to the Nets.
the great Sid Rosenberg joining us here on the Lighthouse Insurance guest line. Follow Sid on Twitter and Instagram at Sid Rosenberg, co-host of the best radio show in New York City, the Bernie and Sid in the Morning on 770 WABC. All right, Sid, the other question is, when you were at Madison Square Garden last for the Dwayne Wade finale, were you wearing a custom Joseph Abboud suit?
Oh, come on. You know the answer to that. Of course I was. Hey, by the way, Harry, not just a suit, a custom-made shirt, a pair of Joseph Abboud socks, a brand-new pair, I swear to God, of brown leather shoes. I was Joseph Abboud head to toe. In fact, it's a true story, guys. I'm on the court. I'm out there with Adams from the Jamal Adams, defensive back of the Jets. And Jamal Adams and I and my son Gabriel, 10 years old, are waiting on the court to take a picture with Dwayne Wade. They just finished the game. The crowd is going nuts. You would have thought you were in Miami, by the way. That's how rabid New York was to say goodbye to Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade walks over. Swear to God, he goes, "Oh man, you look Miami. You're looking sharp." So I wish I taped that before Abood. He would have loved that. But yes, I was decked out in Joseph Abood, and the first guy to notice, the great Dwayne Wade.
How about that?
Doing something right, if that's the case.
Isn't that great?
That's amazing, man. That is amazing.
By the way, the Mets are going to play the Phillies. They're going to win tonight because of DeGrom. So don't lay 200, but take the run line of the under. But anyway, by the way, I love your station. I'm on hold waiting to come on. You guys like giving out totals. The Mets are minus 200. Talking about NFL totals. I mean, it's a beautiful thing, your station.
Well, we have to embrace the new world of sports gambling, right?
That's right.
I love it.
We're in the mecca of it.
Fantastic. Well, you are in the mecca of it, and we should pay attention to it instead of acting like it doesn't exist. And you guys do a terrific job of doing that. But I'm going to tell you, Jeff is going to the All-Star game. Pete Alonso is going to the All-Star game. He's been the best power hitter in baseball this year. Jacob Bauer's in the All-Star game. So we're going to fire Mickey Callaway at the end of the year because he can't manage. We're going to bring in some new ball players. The Mets are 9 games under 500. I know that. They're in 4th place. Next year, they're going to win the World Series.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Oh, my God.
And you're going to be there watching them in your Nets jersey.
Oh, jeez.
Right?
Yeah.
Your Karis LeVert jersey that you've had since day one.
Yeah. And when the Yankees win it this fall, he's going to say, "I'm a Yankee fan, too."
We love you, brother.
Say this. I love you guys, too, but the Yankees have win. Houston. But I love you guys. I love you both. They're brilliant.
Real quick, okay? I'm getting this now. This is breaking news, Sid, okay? Because my mom, she listens a lot from Southern Connecticut on the app. She streams, right?
Awesome.
She texted me as we were going back and forth earlier. I wanted to get through the interview, but before we get out of here, this is the text I get from my mom. "I took you to the hotels up there when you were 4 years old. Ha ha."
Oh, so you don't remember going
No, I don't remember, but apparently, according to my mother at least, and that's the one person I'll trust no matter what,
Right.
I was there. And she says, "Don't question my Jewish heritage because my mom born and raised in Jamaica Estates."
Oh, my God. Let me say something, and I mean this sincerely. I feel so much better hanging up now because a part of me was really not only disappointed but depressed. But after hearing from your mom, I feel so much better. God bless your mother. I love her.
Listen, isn't it always a Jewish mother from Queens saving the day?
Yes, it is.
Hey, listen, my mom's from Brooklyn, but anyway you look at it, it's always a Jewish mother saving the day, 100%.
Hey, Sid, we love you,
All right,
man.
Sidney, enjoy the rest of your 4th.
Enjoy it, brother.
Hey, you guys are great. You guys, Eytan and Harry, you're both brilliant. I love you both. Thank you so much.
You got
There
it.
he is, Sid Rosenberg.
At Sid Rosenberg on Twitter.
On the Lighthouse Insurance guest line.